Welcome, dear Thriver, to Thriver TV, and today I want to talk to you about a question that a lot of people ask, which is this relationship savable? And it's a very painful and it's a difficult journey with a narcissist to know whether it is or whether it isn't. And that's why I want to simplify this for you and make you understand how you can know whether or not it is, and how it's actually not about them, it's about you. So let's look at this deeper. But before I do, I just want to say, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do, and you'll be notified about every time I put out a new release. And if you find my information healing and helpful, please give it a like and a share and pass on this information to others so that they know that they can heal for real from narcissistic abuse. Okay, so let's dive in. How do we know whether a relationship with a narcissist can be saved? And of course you want to, because when you're in relationship with a narcissist, this isn't just a lukewarm relationship. It's one that feels like there is deep, deep binds to it. You feel like there is a massive connection, and it's not something you can just go, look, all right, I'm done, and walk away. Because often people feel like it's even a soul contract. It's so powerful. I'm meant to be with this person. Even the way you met, the way you connected can be so like a prophecy. It was very, very powerful. Okay, so here's the deal with narcissists. We know that being with a narcissist is incredibly painful. We know that they don't do team. We know that they can do really nasty, outrageous things. And we know that we're getting damaged, severely damaged, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, often financially. Your life, yourself, your capacity to be in the world, happy, wholesome, and extended, and get on with looking after and being connected to the passions, the missions, and the people who you would love to serve and co-create with gets severely compromised. So it's not just you that suffers, it's everything in your life that suffers. Now, with a narcissist, you want things to change. However, how do you know whether or not they can change? And I need to explain a little bit about how it really works with somebody who has got the capacity and the desire to make amends for poor and bad behavior. So what does that look like? Capacity and desire to make amends. Well, first of all, it means personal responsibility and the humility to be able to say, I messed up. And how do people do that in a healthy, appropriate way? They say sorry. They can actually acknowledge what they did, and they make it a point to say how and why they are not going to behave like that in the future. Now, narcissists don't have that capacity and that desire to show up in that way. Rather, a narcissist will immediately go into defenses. So they will say that they're not wrong. They'll project, they'll twist it back on you, they'll blame you, they will gaslight you, they will try and pretend that it was because of you that this happened. They will confuse you to try to stop holding them accountable. And they will not apologize. Or if they do apologize, they'll say, I said sorry, what else do you want? And it's either said very defensively or they never even said it. Then they say that they're saying it. You say you didn't say it. And they said, well, I just said it now. That's not a sorry. Okay, a sorry that is appropriate comes from the heart. A sorry isn't, well, I'm sorry I got caught. It's, I'm sorry for what happened to you as a result of my actions. There is a massive, massive difference. Now, if you don't get that level of accountability from anybody, they will reoffend. And why will they reoffend? Because they have so much resistance to their own personal growth, personal responsibility, and personal humility. In other words, I can't be wrong. I have to be right. I would rather be right than happy, and I would rather be right than do team or cooperate or have any compassion or empathy for other people's feelings. Now, you know if you have a genuine apology because it feels wholesome in your body, you can receive it. And it can be very confusing because they're grandstanding that they've apologized and your whole being is squirming and feeling incredibly unsafe and uncomfortable because you know that you haven't got an apology. This person will reoffend 100% because they were never sorry for what they did. They were only sorry for getting caught for it, and there is a massive difference. Or maybe they're not even sorry about that. Okay, so point number 2 is, how does behavior happen? How does anybody's behavior happen? It happens from a level of belief. And belief is what their inner composition is, what their belief systems are around that topic. Now, there's a very powerful applicable expression, hurt people hurt people. People who are traumatized and have a very tumultuous inner being are going to get triggered. And when they get triggered, they go into their amygdala and all consciousness goes out the window, as does the peripheral for other people, as does the ability to understand oneness. I'm you, and at the quantum level, you are me. If I harm you, I harm myself. So consciousness is gone and it comes in a singularity, which is me, me, me. And me, me, me is I'm triggered, I'm in my amygdala, I'm in a survival program. And if I'm triggered enough and unconscious enough, then I have no capacity to even care about the peripheral and other people. So this is why hurt people hurt people. That's the explanation of it. Narcissists are like that. They get triggered and they're like a runaway train. Now, what's very important to understand too is when we're in victim consciousness and we haven't healed our internal triggers regarding our inner composition about the unresolved traumas in our life, we can actually appear narcissistic when triggered. And if we just look to the outside and keep blaming everything and everyone that and how and why it happened to us, rather than go inside and heal our triggers, well, then we're stuck in being victimized by life, being a victim and being unconscious. And also we can be a perpetrator to others without even realizing that we're doing it. But narcissists are deeply unconscious. They never want to turn within. They don't want to resolve themselves at the level of belief. Therefore, their behavior won't change. And that is exactly what you're left with. So that is so important to understand. Okay, so the answer really is can this be saved, the relationship? Can it be saved? I have never honestly seen in the 15 years that I've been serving this community one genuine provable example of somebody with narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic behavior that's extreme who has reformed. What I have seen is that there are people who are acting out and triggered and unconscious and addictive who, because of people in their life who have taken a stand for themselves, that this person has stepped up to match them at a higher level of evolutionary relationship. An example that I love to talk about, years ago, I met a beautiful couple and I'd taken a friend to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting to try and help her recovery. And he stood up on stage and he gave the story about him and his wife's life, and he said that he'd been an addict of many proportions for decades, and she'd been long suffering, and she'd been trying to get him into therapy, and she'd been lecturing and prescribing, and her whole focus was him and trying to fix him and change him. And he'd never changed. He stayed an addict. And then one day she woke up and she decided her truth, regardless of what he was or wasn't doing. And she said to him, and she embodied it, she said, I will not live with an addict another day. I'm done with this. You can do whatever you want, but I am not going to live with an addict. So either you leave and leave me with the kids, or we're going. And she meant it. And this left him with, he could no longer be enabled to stay sick as an addict and have her in his life. So he left and he went into therapy, and he went to Alcoholics Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, because he really had it badly. And 6 months later, he got in contact with her and he said, I'm healed. And she said, I don't think that's long enough. And I want another 6 months, and then prove it to me. However you need to prove it to me, prove it to me. So he took her to therapists and meetings, and they all stood for him and vouched for him. And she took him back and she said, you could not have asked for a better husband, father, and grandfather. He was on stage nearly in tears, and he said, she saved my life, because I never had to change until she did that. And then I was given the opportunity to change, and I did. And she stood there and she said, I actually didn't have an attachment to whether he was doing this to change or not. I stood in what I knew was the truth for me. And either way, she said, I would have won, because he was either gone out of my life and, you know, a far superior replacement would have come into my life, or he had to step up. So here's the deal about our relationships with narcissistic people, or addicts, or just selfish, or unconscious, or whatever it is. It's actually not about them. They're doing whatever they're doing, and people are going to do what they do. But who are we going to be in relation to this? And how do we get empowered to stand into our truth in a quantum way, so within, so without? Our belief, our behavior is what we're going to generate in our life, because we say no more to what can't match us at that level, and we up level what can. So I really hope that this has made sense to you. You're understanding this deeper. But remember, at a quantum level, what you accept today is what you're going to get. So if you are accepting somebody that you're hoping is going to change, Source and the quantum truth of so within, so without says you're accepting abuse. A poor apology that's not even real, a knowing in your body that this is dangerous and unsafe and abusive, as confused and as gaslit as you are. By staying, even if you think you're standing up, by staying there in it, you're accepting it, that's all you will get. It literally, as per quantum law, cannot up level until you do. All right, I'm going to put up a link with this video, which is exactly the process and the program I created for my own up-levelment and thriving, and the one that will do it for you. Take away all of your longing and your pain and your trauma bonding, and you're trying to fix and lecture and prescribe, and hang in there with hope that is crushing your soul, your spirit, your life, your future, and your missions, and your ability to have healthy, safe, wholesome love. Check out the link. It will deliver you, as it did for me, to the other side. All right, I hope that makes sense. And until the next one, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. All right, lots of love, everybody. Bye-bye.